Hey guys, hadn't made a video in a while. Kind of got down under the weather and hurt my shoulder and a bunch of other junk, but that's boring crap. So, just going to show you some of the work I'm doing on this. It's a 4.6 mod motor bullet 3-piece intake. We've I gasket matched it, cut out a large portion of the injector bung, or the, not bung, but like boss, that for some reason the factory puts way down into the, obscures a huge portion of your intake runner. I've got that all cut. Actually, I've rough cut it, medium cut it. I've got it smoothed out to the shape I want. I've got a couple of runners. I started working on the sanding roll part of it, but that's just kind of finalizing the surface and making it look pretty. Mostly I've gotten the shape I want to improve the airflow. Up here in the end, you can't really do a whole lot, but I've done quite a bit of material removing and radiusing in this corner across the face of that turn into that wall, and then cleaned up casting flash. I could cut a lot of material off of the boss for that center bolt hole, but I just don't really see that it's going to improve flow enough to go through that much trouble. But been working on these top runners that go in the bottom part of the intake, trying to get these cleaned out. It's kind of hard to see, but down in this area here, almost all the way around, there was a huge bump, greatly reducing the size of the radius. Anytime you're working on this side of the port, you got to stuff a rag in this side or the air blows metal flakes in your face, so that ain't good. But this thing will probably be done this weekend. I've been going really slow working on it. I want to get that done because that customer's really kind of chomping at the bit to pick it up, even though his motor's not done, so should turn out pretty good. I've got the other side of the top of the intake over here, because I'm going to do a little bit of gasket matching on it and then cut out the other side. He wants these two openings removed and make it just one big oval, so that's pretty straightforward. I think anybody could do that. Anyway, that's where I'm at on this. Making a huge mess, and this is a clean work surface, because every time I get done porting, I use my shop vac and clean it up. But you got to be super careful, because these little shavings of aluminum will get in your feet really fast. I'm out here, still working on my motor for my S10. I do have the oil lines almost completed, the oil filter relocation lines. I'm just finishing the other ends of those lines, hopefully getting rid of all them leaks. I've noticed that since it's been sitting here, this stupid ass Turbo 350 has been leaking. I don't know if you can see all that, it's pretty dark, but there's a red rag underneath the front of that torque converter, and there's transmission fluid has leaked and run all the way back to this towel. So I've been looking around on the sides of the case, and I just can't imagine what could be leaking at this point without the pump running, no internal functions, how high up that fluid goes, and where it could be leaking from. If you remember from a previous video, I mentioned, I just put in a brand new front input shaft seal for that brand new torque converter, and the torque converter is fully seated. But as far as I know, even the fluid level in a Turbo 350 wouldn't be high enough to leak out of the input shaft seal while it's just sitting here not running. But I'm tempted to go ahead and pull that torque converter back out just to make sure that there isn't something leaking out of there, even though I really don't think it would leak from there. I probably should go ahead and check that front pump area, because if maybe some of you don't remember, But when I pulled this transmission out and pulled the old B&M converter out, it was wet. It was not dripping wet, but it was kind of moist, let's say, up inside that bell housing, but I couldn't figure out for sure where it was coming from, which is why I put in the new input shaft seal to just be safe and cover all my bases. But I don't know, I'm looking over here, looks pretty wet, but I don't think it would, I don't think the fluid's running uphill, so I don't know if it could all be coming from, say, there's a shifter shaft seal right there behind that little bolt that I believe might be leaking a little bit. But other than that, gosh, that pan doesn't leak. You know, we've had, that's a long story, I don't want to get into too much of it, but we went through 3 different transmission pans and 4 different gaskets and changed the fluid and filter in it 3 times in under 500 miles because we kept having drips out of this stupid transmission. You know, if it turns out to be a headache, I'm not sure if I might go ahead and start working on that 700 R4 project, because I'm not going to spend a ton of money on this stupid Turbo 350 if it's going to drip and act stupid. There might be a crack in the case, I don't know. But anyway, that's where I'm at. You know, I did test run this engine with the new 1.6 comp aluminum roller rockers. It sounded strong. I'm probably going to go ahead and pull that new flex plate off, because I've had a few people make comments about the register where it bolts onto the end of the one-piece crankshaft. They, you know, want me to make sure and run over it with an emery, not an emery, but like a Scotch-Brite wheel or whatever, and just make double sure there's nothing keeping it from sealing flat on that, or setting flat on that surface. Because I want to make damn sure that when I put this thing in there this time, it is not going to wobble or add any vibration or anything stupid. But I did get the part number to match up, because this is a 95 bottom end rotating assembly, which has a balance weight on the flex plate that you have to have because of the way that internal balance is. Or actually what they're doing is they're neutral balancing the internal assembly and then adding weight to the flywheel to get everything balanced out. So anyway, I got that all lined out. It actually, being a 95 motor, it was supposed to be out of a Suburban, I think is what the block code indicated. But the odd part about it was it had the rods, the powdered metal rods, like an LT1 350. So I'm not sure, but I do know that that was a factory assembled engine when I got it. And it had those powdered metal rods that have no balance pads on the big end or the small end. So I'm not sure if this may have been some kind of heavy duty motor they put in a 3/4 ton Suburban. I have no clue. But I went through and freshened the bottom end and put those ported double hump heads on there with a little bitty cam. You can see the little baby double humps, because a lot of people have asked me, I don't know if those are double humps or not. Yes sir, those are 1971, what I call baby double hump heads that have been opened up to 202 160 valves, ported intake and exhaust, screw-in studs, guide plates, all that junk, just in case I ever get retarded and want to put a mechanical cam in here, because originally this was built just as a street cruiser, you know, burn out, catch second type vehicle, but everything gets out of hand at one point. I do got to go up to probably AutoZone and grab a new dipstick tube, because my friend Richard forgot to pull it out and I didn't see it. And he was on this side trying to pull the engine out. Well, that dipstick tube didn't make it. It's now part of the scrap pile. But other than that, we're on pace to get this thing probably back together hopefully this weekend. My son, he plays 5th grade tackle football, and that's been taking a lot of time out of our work on the car momentum as well, because We have practice twice a week. We used to have 2 games a week. Now, thank God, we're down to just 1. I just wanted to get a quick video done, kind of update where I was at, let everybody know that I am still going to do the stupid product review on this Winners Choice torque converter. I just got to get this dumb thing back together and get it back on the road, because I'm sure my neighbors are tired of seeing it sit out there. So anyway, stick with me. We'll try to get her done as soon as possible.